Sometimes you just want to slow down and take a deep breath, right? There's this quiet place tucked deep inside the Swiss Alps, far from noise, traffic and fast everything. It's called Lauterbrunnen, and the moment you step into this valley, it doesn't feel like just another destination. It feels like you've arrived somewhere peaceful, somewhere real. It's a place where the world slows down and nature does all the talking. A valley that feels alive. Lauterbrunnen is set right in the heart of the Bernese Oberland region of Switzerland, cradled by steep cliffs and high alpine peaks. What makes this village so different from everywhere else isn't just how pretty it looks, it's how the landscape moves. Waterfalls drop from impossible heights, rivers wind through the grass like silver threads, and everything feels like it's been untouched for hundreds of years. The entire Lauterbrunnen valley stretches south and then swings southwest, ending with something called the Lauterbrunnen Wall. It's an 8-kilometer long vertical cliff face that practically shuts the door on the outside world. On both sides of the valley, the cliffs rise up to 1,000 meters high, around 3,300 feet. That's almost like standing at the bottom of a natural cathedral carved by glaciers. The valley itself is narrow, rarely even a kilometer wide, but it's deep, dramatic, and unforgettable. It's shaped like a U, thanks to ancient glaciers, and what's wild is how it just cuts through the mountains like a giant took a chisel to the Alps. The waterfalls that never stop. One of the things Lauterbrunnen is famous for is its waterfalls, 72 of them to be exact. That's why people call it the Valley of 72 Waterfalls. And these aren't little trickles you find on a roadside trail. They're tall, loud, and right in your face. The most iconic is Staubbach Falls. It's less than a kilometer from the village and drops 297 meters, that's 974 feet straight down into the valley air. What's special about Staubbach isn't just the height, but the way it kind of floats. On windy days, the water breaks into mist before it even touches the ground. It looks like the mountain is exhaling, but Staubbach isn't the tallest waterfall here. That title goes to Mürrenbach Fall, which crashes down from a height of 417 meters, or 1,368 feet. Then there's the Mürrenbach Fall, a cascade so long, it reaches 930 meters, making it the tallest in Europe and the third tallest in the world. Think about that. One little valley, holding 3 of the most incredible waterfalls anywhere, and just a short trip from the village, there's Trümmelbach Falls. These are different, they're hidden inside a mountain. Meltwater from glaciers up in the peaks comes roaring down, carving a path through solid rock. Inside, it's dark, wet, and loud. Around 20,000 litres of water per second smash through narrow tunnels and chambers. You hear it before you see it. Visiting it feels like stepping into the earth itself. Other waterfalls in the area like Spissbach, Seffinen, Holdry, Talbach, Mürrenbach and Staubbach add even more character to the valley. Each one has its own personality, its own sound. If you're someone who finds peace in the sound of falling water, this place will speak to you in ways you didn't know possible. A simple walk that stays with you. There's a path here called the Lauterbrunnen Waterfalls Trail. It's not a tough hike, more like a walk that keeps unfolding. You start from the village, past Staubbach, continue toward Trümmelbach, and the whole time you're walking under cliffs beside flowers through green fields. The kind of path where you stop often, not because you're tired, but because the view is just too good. You see wooden barns, small pastures, wildflowers, and snow-capped peaks rising far above. And even though the world is so big around you, it somehow makes you feel calmer inside. The Weisse River flows right through the middle of it all, fed by the snowmelt from high up in the mountains. It's clean, fast, and every so often it spills over its banks, just to remind you that it still calls the shots. That river, those trails and the waterfalls create this rhythm. Villages that feel like home. Lauterbrunnen isn't just one village. The entire municipality stretches way beyond the main valley. It covers over 164 square kilometers, that's 63 square miles, and includes mountain legends like Wengen, Mürren, Gimmelwald, Steckelberg, and Isenfluh. Each has its own charm. Wengen is perched above the valley and only reachable by train. Mürren sits high on the cliff edge and gives views you'll never forget. Gimmelwald feels like a secret, tiny, quiet, and perfectly preserved. Even the village architecture pulls you in. Wooden chalets, balconies full of flowers, tiny shops that still feel local. Peaks and trails that take you higher. If you're into climbing, hiking, or just looking up at mountains, Lauterbrunnen delivers. To the east, you've got the famous trio, the Eiger, Mönch and Jungfrau. They're not just snow-covered giants, they're part of the story here. To the south, there's the Gletscherhorn, Mittaghorn, Grosshorn, Breithorn and Tschingelhorn. To the west, the Schildhorn and Gespaltenhorn close the loop. And the best part? You don't need to be a mountaineer to see them up close. Take the Wengenmännlichen aerial cableway and you'll be floating above the valley, watching those peaks come into view like they're part of some giant painting. Up top, you can hike the Männlichen Plateau or just sit and look around. You see the whole Jungfrau region from up there. The feeling that stays with you. There's something about Lauterbrunnen that sticks. Maybe it's the sound of the falls, the silence of the forest, or the light on the cliffs at sunset. Maybe it's the way the air smells like cold water, green grass, and fresh snow all at once. Or maybe it's just the fact that it feels honest, real. It doesn't try to impress, it just is. So if you're craving a walk through a place where everything feels slower, calmer, and more alive, this little valley in Switzerland might be exactly what you need. What would you do first? Visit the waterfalls, hike the trails, or just sit in the grass and listen to the river? Let me know in the comments, and if this peaceful corner of the world feels like somewhere you'd like to be, make sure to like and subscribe for more stories just like this.